I guess the censorship business is ramping up because we have more situations every day. You know, there are those in independent companies and in governments and small little minute groups on Twitter and on Reddit that just basically, are creating fake boogeymen to process in their own agenda, whatever it is. Some of it's insane. I mean, I've seen some stuff all the way back to the 90s that, even before the internet was the internet, that they were crying out for certain things that to be eliminated. And it wasn't that bad back then. But it was there. But now with the internet, everybody, it gets worse. And then you have places like this that basically start to ban certain things or shut down streaming apps that basically they deem that certain things doesn't have the right rating, or is it offensive, or tons of things. This past week we find out that Russia is at it again. The first time we heard on the case of Death Note and several other animes have been banned from the country of Russia because basically several people had died because of these animes. But it wasn't that, this harks back to the 90s again, to the days that, people were blaming a music band for basically somebody's suicide when actually these kids were basically locked in their rooms, playing music, smoking pot, and were depressed. And nobody wanted to intervene to find out why were they depressed until they put a shotgun to their heads and basically blew their heads off. But let's not go way back to that. But just to put that in the premise in the back of your head, Crunchyroll, we're familiar with that, basically, which is right now tied up in the courts with the Sony deal. Well, they have been banned in Russia. Someone sent me this just the other day, and we're still trying to get it. This hasn't really hit the mainstream, but if you're, into anime and stuff like that, these are in the chat rooms. A couple small independent anime sites have already touted this, and even in the Crunchyroll chat rooms have also said that this is happening. And it seems like the Federal Service of Surveillance of Telecommunications, Information Technology and Media, when you have a department that basically the name of their department is one sentence long. Like we have the FCC, Federal Communications Company. 3 letters. Here we have a whole sentence for the name of a division. But it does have a main name to it, and it says it's also known in Russia as Roskomnadzor, reported that the service was blocked Crunchyroll in its territory for violating laws of the region by distributing content with an appropriate R+18 labels. On April 13th, the Roskomnadzor reported that several series in the catalog of Crunchyroll violated their laws of their country and the federal agency. The ones that were in violation, and I looked these up, and as far as Crunchyroll itself, and even in IMDb, they are rated between a TV-14 and TV-18 depending on the title. And that's Darling in the Fran XX, Kohohan Kitan, My Sister, My Writer, Tsugumon, Tenshin no 3P, which is Angel 3-piece, and Girly Air Force. Apparently, the Rossmeyer pointed out that these series have not been correctly categorized because they contain adult content, according to the laws of the country. That was not noticed by the platform. The federal agency had previously warned Crunchyroll, after which it was forced to restrict access to the series, how not to summon a demon lord in the region. Finally, the platform issued a statement on the ban stating that it will try to resolve the matter as soon as possible. For reasons beyond Crunchyroll's control, some users may be prevented from accessing the desktop version of the service. Our team is working best to resolve the situation quickly as possible. We apologize for the inconvenience. Looking forward to your understanding. That's from Crunchyroll itself. Also, the thing is, and getting to what they were saying, how not to summon a demon lord, I don't find, I mean, it is rated properly. And most of the others, like I said, are rated properly. So, you know what it is that you have countries that say, well, this has to be rated this way. But the biggest places in the world that rate these animes are the most tightest as they can be. I mean, they're not underrated in most countries. I mean, if anything, some of them are overrated. Some of them have TV-18s that don't even need to have TV-18s on them. See, the premise is that the thought of most anime being adult-oriented, not realizing is that there are different levels on the content. And then you have those who have jokes. You know, there are jokes that go across the board. You know, like in how not to summon a demon lord, there's, you know, some sexual innuendos where the guy's always accidentally putting his hand on the girl's breastises.
Big breastises?
And basically, you know, he's scared. He's like, no, he's like, what am I doing? Why am I putting my hand? It's part of the comedic aspects. Now, understand that could be rated to a TV-14 or to a TV-18. Most places has it like at least toward the TV-18. See, what Russia wants is they want every anime put toward a TV-18 and above. So that would put other blockers into position that would not allow pretty much mostly a lot of people not to be able to see most of these anime because you know, they enforce certain rules and regulations on a lot of the apps of what you could see on the apps at what age group and stuff like that. You know, it's like you go to some of these countries and you said, hey, you know, it must be better there than here because you have this, that, and all that. You have to remember, when you're here in this country, it's much easier to watch something in an anime than it is overseas. Because everybody wants to make a new rule. And the thing about it is, people are trying to put those rules into this country. And they mostly specifically focusing on anime. Why? Why are they focusing on anime? Because let me tell you, there's plenty of other things that they could be blocking. But one thing about me, I don't like censorship. Unless it truly violates the law. In other words, if it's a live action movie that sexualizes a very young child, or you are done in a way, and you know the movie I'm talking about, if that's done that way, then you know there's no place for that. But if you have situations where in a Simpsons episode or Family Guy or South Park, where a person drops their pants to show their butt, and they have no problem with those series. Now, some places do, but a lot of places don't. But if it happens in an anime, then they have a major problem with it. You know, they think that just because it looks like a child, it's not a child. And on top of that, it's an animated character. Or anime, you know, depending on what it is. If it's animated, anime, however you want to put it. But nevertheless, it's, you know, they're touting things that they continue to do. I mean, years ago, you have to remember, you had movies like I Spit on Your Grave, you know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Lolita. There was a lot of movies that were banned back in the day. I mean, there is a ban list. You can look this up on Wikipedia, that there is a long list of movies that were banned in certain countries. And even in this country, there were certain movies that were banned in this country. I mean, you had a movie called Brewster's Millions, which not the one back from the 80s. This was back in the 40s. And that one was banned. You had stuff like Birth of the Nation, the original 32 Scarface, I'm Curious Yellow, Pink Flamingos. You know, back in '79 when Monty Python's Life of Brian came out, a lot of towns throughout the U.S. were banning this because basically it felt it was making fun of Christianity. But the ban didn't last too long because today we get to see movies like that. You know, and there are plenty of other films. I mean, for stupid reasons that they were banned. Here's one from 1956, The Vanishing Prairie, which is a documentary by Disney that was banned because it showed a buffalo giving birth. But you know, these days you get to see that on National Geographic and many other, you know, science animal documentaries that you see throughout the internet and on television. You know, people have sometimes, you know, like a line that they you know, there was an old, let me put it this way. There used to be an old commercial years ago. And basically they used to put a battery on a guy's shoulder and he says,
I dare you to knock this off. I dare you to compare anybody's batteries, with alkaline power cells.
Go ahead, knock it off. I dare you. That's the way some people are handling it. It's like they felt the battery's been knocked off their shoulder. And it just goes insane. I mean, you see this on Twitter, you see this on Reddit. You know, another major thought that basically people went nuts over was a movie called The Last Temptation of Christ. And basically it was banned in Savannah, Georgia. And it, you know, it got to finally open, but people didn't understand what the movie represent. Here's a spoiler on this. And if you haven't seen this, it's a great movie. It is a great movie. It should be seen. People criticized it because basically they said Jesus Christ, it was like he took himself down from the cross and had a wife and kids and all that, and he grew old and stuff like that. But listen to the title, The Last Temptation of Christ. Spoilers, kids. That whole movie was the devil trying to tempt Jesus Christ off the cross. He never left the cross. It was what the devil was trying to show Christ his life would be like if he didn't sacrifice himself. That was the whole movie. And people just flipped out because they heard Christ was having a wife and children. Didn't realize what the true meaning of the movie was. And this happens constantly. Now, you might ask yourself, what does this have to do with anime? Most of these animes that come out recently, and you've seen this with No Game, No Life, with Goblin Slayer, the Rise of the Shield Hero, people don't understand what the show is because they haven't watched it. They'll watch maybe an episode and say, don't like it. And they'll go off and campaign and like, what happened in Australia? You know, these things got banned. Then they started banning all the statuettes and stuff like that. The hypocrisy of it. They'll ban certain things, but they won't ban other things. They'll use that as a tool today to create fear mongering in people, saying like this is causing our children to be violent. they're gonna be sexualized and stuff like that. But the true sexualization isn't from the anime or the cartoons. It's from real life. And those are evil people in the world, or people trying to use it as political pawns. And people don't understand that's what's going on. When you hear this in Russia, something of this nature that's going on, understand that in Russia, you don't have that many rights, even though it's not the old Soviet days of communism. It's not the Soviets, but in a way it is still communist. It still spells the same thing. It doesn't matter what it is. It's like people say, well, there's many different socialism. No, there isn't. There's only one type of socialism. It's just the different factions of it. It's still the same ideology. Just people try to say, well, we're trying to make it better and different. There is no making better or different. You're saying the most stupidest thing that you could say is you burnt the food and you say, well, I'll add a little bit more salt to it. Maybe it'll taste better. It's burnt. It's done. You ain't going to get any taste out of it. So you've reached this part of the video. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that subscribe, like, share this video. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye now. Oh, and before we go, don't forget to check out our new Teespring shop, our Q2Cast shop, and at our new address, Shop Q2Cast, where you could check out our new anime shirts that we have out. Anime shirts, pillows, just in time for the spring and summer. Go check them out. And we have some of our classics still available there from our TV shows. And we have more t-shirts on the way. We're redesigning the Q2Cast shop, our merch shop. We have a lot more coming. So do check us out. That's shopq2cast.com. One more time, that's shopq2cast.com. It is up and available just for you. And remember, all proceeds go to help this channel.